Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Today I'm going over charms. There's so many in the game, 16 in total so far, and these can really help give you a lot of health to take on big creatures like the brutes and even tougher creatures that you'll find in the Frostlands caves. But how do you unlock them all? Which ones are best and what combinations do you need? That's what I'm going to go over today, so make sure you leave a like if you find it useful. Check out the rest of my Go Fortnite guides. My name's JADE PG, let's go. So the very basic charms that you'd have access to are things like just the regular health charm and then the uncommon health charm. The regular one's going to give you an extra heart and it only costs 5 wolf claws, 3 silk thread and 3 bones. Obviously you get the silk from spiders, the wolf claws from the wolves and the bones from the skeletons at night. Pretty simple stuff. Also going to give you a defense bonus of 1. The uncommon charm, that's going to give you 2 hearts and a defense bonus of 3. For this you're going to need 3 silk thread, 1 piece of marble which you get from obviously the caves in the grasslands, and 1 shell which you'll find from the rollers that roam around the grasslands. So equipping both of these, you can now see we get a total of 6 hearts already. But you can actually stack these. So if you're not ready to go and get marble, you can go ahead and just craft 3 of these. Until you get resources for better ones, still gives you a lot of hearts. This should be more than enough to deal with all types of skeletons in the starter areas and the wolves. And obviously if you can craft 3 of the uncommon health charms, that's going to give you 9 hearts and 9 defense. Having a large defense score won't necessarily make you immune though. There's always a minimum damage, so even creatures like a basic roller, they can still hurt you and take away a quarter of your heart. But some of their attacks you can actually become immune to if you've got high enough defense score. With 2 uncommon charms equipped, you can see the rolling attack here does no damage to me. In general, defences having high defence will actually reduce a lot of secondary attacks, things like poison occasionally as well. But just make it really clear, the higher your defence score, the less hearts you're likely to lose. Look what happened when I only had 1 single common charm on, which only gave me a defence of 1 instead of the 6 that I had previously. The roll attack does a whole heart's worth of damage, in fact a whole heart and a quarter. And if we assume a quarter of a heart equals 1 defense score, then it should have done 1 heart and a half, which equals 6, hence why I didn't take any damage when it did its roll earlier. But as said, that's only for some attacks. Most attacks from creatures will do still a minimum of at least a quarter of a heart for some reason, even if you've got the best charms in the game going up against the easiest enemies. So charms not only give you lots of health, but they're going to stop certain attacks from doing any damage to you at all. Not all attacks, but some. So to get even better charms, you need to go ahead and upgrade your crafting bench. So 8 planks of wood from the lumber saw and 3 shells that you get from the rollers in the grasslands. Or you can find them in the grass caves as well, and you can upgrade your bench. You should now have the cool-headed charm, which gives an additional health, so 3 health total, plus 5 defense. And this is also obviously good for keeping up with hot temperatures. Now if this doesn't appear in your crafting bench, you may have to go and make sure you get some of the sand shells, as sometimes you will need to find all the ingredients for an item before it pops up as a recipe, as well as the marble that you get from the regular caves. So just by crafting the first 3 charms, we've now got 9 hearts as well as 9 defense. So it is worth actually making 3 of these if you had a lot of these sand shells. But do bear in mind that sand shells are used for quite a lot of stuff, including getting your next upgrade. So you might want to just stick with the uncommon for a while. But the cool-headed charm, it is going to help you explore the desert. It should be just about enough, maybe with the additional eating of snowberries or snowberry shakes, as these will then help you definitely stay cool enough while you're exploring the desert. If you go into the caves though, they become even hotter, so you will need either more advanced charms that give protection against heat or more foods. Once you are ready to upgrade to the rare crafting bench, you're going to unlock a whole lot more. So upgrading the next level will unlock the hearty totem, the health, inner fire, charm resilience, regeneration charm. But again, you need to find some of these ingredients before they appear in your crafting bench. The hearty totem is going to give you extra bonus health after a few seconds, as well as 3 health and 5 defense. It also requires sand shells, but 5 of them, plus 6 sand claws, cut amber, which you can only get from the desert, and wool thread, which obviously you've been making on your spinner from the actual wool you've got from the sheep. Sand claws, of course, you get from the desert wolves too. And after a little while, it's going to give you 2 hearts. I would say this one's not the best, because as soon as you take any kind of damage, you lose them 2 additional hearts. And you won't get them back again until you've gone and replenished all of your health. Given how much it costs to also go ahead and make the hearty one, you're better off just making either cool-headed charms or saving some of them resources for other stuff. Cool-headed charms much cheaper, and it have more use that you'll use when going around the desert. Then we move on to the rare versions. The rare health charm uses sand claws again, cut amber and wool thread, which we've covered, and the flexwood rods, which you obviously should be know now that you get from cactuses, but you will have to put it through the lumber mill to go ahead and make it into the rods. Again, this one's relatively expensive to make, but at least it doesn't use sand shells this time, and it only gives 3 hearts, but it does give 5 defense. Given that the hearty totem again uses 6 sand claws, 5 cut amber and 5 sand shells, the regular health charm is definitely going to be easier to go ahead and make. And again, you're not losing much, only them 2 additional temporary hearts. After this, we come to the charms that are definitely a lot harder to get hold of. The inner fire charm, you're going to need rubies, blast cores and bright cores, and you can only get them from the lava desert caves. So you will need rare tools to go and get these resources, and as I mentioned earlier, the snowberry shake is going to come in handy here. It actually might be necessary to really spend a long time in the caves. Plenty of dangers inside here, but obviously lots of resources. You've got copper that you can go ahead and mine, but this is what we're really looking for right now. This is the bright core that you can use to make lights, but more importantly to help make some of these charms. The blast cores that you get from these lava rollers, you just need to let them explode and they'll drop one afterwards. Or kill it if you've got strong enough tools. And yep, rubies are a little bit more rare to find, but you should be able to come across some inside these caves. But this will give you 4 hearts, 7 extra defense. It should be good enough to go and explore at night time in the grasslands, or if it's raining you won't necessarily get as cold. But if you're going to go through the frostlands, even with 2 equipped, you're still going to be cold. In fact, if you've got 1, you'll actually be freezing at night time. If you've got 2 equipped, you'll be cold at night time. And even when you equip all 3 of your charm slots to have the inner fire rare version, you will still be cold and you'll still lose 1/4 of your heart every few ticks. So when you combine any of these charms obviously with the spicy burgers or peppers, they should hopefully nullify, and just make sure you don't get caught out at night time. Best to go through the day until you get the next version, which will definitely give you a lot more protection. As long as you've had a spicy burger and you've got 1 inner fire charm, the rare version equipped, you should be okay and not be too cold while running around during the day. The Frostland caves are actually colder as well, like the desert was hotter, so with 2 fire charms and the spicy burger you can see I'm actually cold now. So either have 3 fire charms and a burger and you should be good enough to go and explore, or of course just make sure you've got plenty of healing foods with you when you're going to explore these zones. Charm Resilience gives you some bonus defense score after you've taken a hit. You need 3 wool thread, 5 obsidian slabs, 5 copper bars and 10 sand shells. And again remember, you get all these materials in the desert cave. Defense is important, but you're always going to lose life even if you've got a great defense score, unless it is a very special attack like the roller does. My defense score went up from 7 to 11 there, but only very short time. The fact it needs 10 sand shells also to craft, I don't know if this one's worth it. With 2 of them equipped, my defense went up from 19 to 27, so that is a big improvement obviously, but it's really only good for a big enemy that's hitting you quite a lot of times rapidly, or multiple enemies hitting you at once, because I've already lost that buff before even this brute can hit me again. Definitely reduced the amount of poison damage I took there having that small higher defense score, and if you get hit multiple times actually in succession, if you've got all 3 equipped, it is going to give you massive defense. Mine went up from like 20 to 57 here momentarily. Now the regeneration one is pretty cool, but you will need to kill a brute, and you're going to need 10 rough amber as well as 5 copper bars. Again, it gives 4 hearts and 7 defense just like the others, but the regeneration is a unique benefit. It will restore 1/4 of your heart every 8 seconds. To craft it you need 10 rough amber, 5 copper bars, 3 brute scales and 3 wool thread. Having 2 equipped won't give you any faster re-healing, instead it will give you an extra quarter of a heart, so you'll now be healing half a heart every 8 seconds. And if you were to go ahead and have all 3 regeneration charms slotted in, yes, it's going to give you a 3/4 of a heart healing every 8 seconds. And the last one in the rare category here for this upgrade of bench is Totem of the Immortal. It's pretty much the same as a totem in Minecraft, but you will need to kill a sand brute as well as get 5 obsidian and 5 cut amber. So instead of a hit that would normally kill you, you'll be left with a quarter of a heart and hopefully a chance to quickly get away and re-heal. This is probably the most useless out of all of them. As long as you've got a bed nearby, you can always respawn. Yes, it would be handy not to die or have to go and re-equip all your weapons if you're fighting a quite hard boss. But you'd have to be really quick on the move, and then you've got to replenish all your health again very quickly if you do somehow manage to not die. And certainly never have more than 1 equipped. It doesn't matter if you've got 2 or 3 or 1, they're all going to get used up. So sure, maybe as 1 endurance have 1 slot for it, but yeah, I would still say the resources needed to craft this and the fact that you can just have a bed normally around with you a lot of the time is just not that worth it. And for the final charms for now in the epic category, yes, you do need to upgrade your bench once more. You're going to need a ton of copper bars, obsidian bars, and yep, you're going to need a sand brute scale. These really will require lots of endgame materials, so it's not something you're going to be doing in any time soon if you just started. But if you go all the way down to the bottom, they're pretty much variations of the ones that you've already unlocked. You've got the regeneration charm, you've got the health charm, you've got the inner fire charm, and the charm of resilience once more. The epic regen requires cut sapphires. You're also going to need a frost brute scale, 5 cursed bones, and 3 heavy wool. So you should now always get heavy wool when petting a ram. It was bugged before where you'd only get 1 out of like 100 drops. Cursed bones you get from the cursed wolves that you'll find inside the Frostland caves. They're really tough. They can take 6 hearts away in just 1 hit, even with a bunch of charms equipped. And again, you might not even see some of these charms until you picked up at least the bones, as it seemed to unlock a lot of the recipes for me. And the sapphires you should find along the walls in the Frostlands caves as well. And you'll find some of the frost brutes lying around some of the mountain areas. With 1 epic version of the regeneration charm equipped, you'll refill half of your health now from 1 heart. And so likewise, if you've got 3 equipped, you'll replenish 1.5 hearts every time, every 8 seconds. With 5 hearts and 14 defense for each one of these as well, I think this is one of the best charms you can actually equip or use. So yeah, it's just a better version of the rare one that you had before. 1 of these and a burger and you won't feel cold at all. 2 of them and you shouldn't feel cold at night time either. And 3 of them, you'll never feel cold again. No matter if you're in the ice caves or not. You can see it's completely got rid of the blue bar. The epic health charm, you're going to need 3 heavy wool, 3 arctic claws, 3 brute scales and 5 iron bars. And yeah, it does the same thing, gives you 5 health and 14 defense. And the charm of resilience, that's going to give 14 defense plus 5 health, 5 malachite slabs, 5 cursed bones and 5 iron bars. You can find malachite sometimes in just the regular Frostlands, but the majority that I found was near the mountains, near the big huge blue icicle cliffs. So you may need the grapple gun to get up to there, or just build lots of building materials. You'll also need a epic pickaxe to go ahead and obviously get a lot of these materials inside the Frostlands cave and around. So instead of being a baseline improvement of 4, it's now 8 defense that you'll get. But again, if you get hit a few times in succession, it will stack and triple up. So you could see your defense rise up to the 50s or 60s, depending on how many you've got equipped. These types of charms are meant to be for players that don't want to be cautious, just want to get in there straight away and keep smacking at an enemy without having to use a shield, block or anything, almost like a berserker class. And that is pretty much it. Finally, all of the charms fully explained, how to get them, when you'll get them, when you craft or upgrade your crafting bench. The temperature negating ones are always going to be useful. After that, I think regeneration or just general health charms, depending on what resources you got, are always best. I wouldn't say for me, I like the idea of the resilience ones. I don't think it's really warranted because combat isn't that big or hard or deep, but you never know. If you're struggling and you do tend to just go in there fighting everything straight away, then maybe it'll be better for you. Let me know what charms are your favourites, and of course if they add any more, which I'm sure they will, I'll be the first to give you the lowdown and an updated guide. Until next time, Ratbags, I'll catch you for more LEGO Fortnite. Bye bye.